She is the Associate Professor, Head Department of Philosophy at Ram Niranjan Jhunjhunwala College, Mumbai, India. We have Professor Srinivasan Iyer as the co-chairperson from Madurai. She will be joining us online. He will be joining us online. We have Abdul Rashid Bhatt, moderator. He has joined us. Professor S.H. Institute of Islamic Studies, University of Kashmir. Without taking much of the time, as we are already delayed with our session, I would also request that the presenters do watch the time limits, that we do conclude our sessions in time, and there is not much of waiting for the people also. So I would like to hand over to Dr. Amita Valmiki.
He's there. Online.
I would request Abdul Rashid Bhatt to join online, please. The moderator of the session, business session 1.
Yes, madam. Am I audible?
The session theme is Indic religions and peace. I introduced him. That's it. Professor Srinivas Iyer, Department Professor, retired from Madurai. Sir has also joined us online. Can we have them on the screen, please? Abdul Rashid Bhatt, Professor, S.H. Institute of Islamic Studies, University, Kashmir. His areas of specialization are modern Islamic thoughts, Islam in the modern world, South Asia, political thoughts in Islam. The area of interest is Islamic social sciences, research methodologies in Islamic studies. I would request and hand over the session to the moderator, Abdul Rashid Bhatt, sir, please. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all. Respected chairperson and co-chairperson and distinguished scholars, speakers of this session, and learned participants. This is first business session of the two-day seminar, the theme of which is a need of interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony, which is being organized in collaboration with by Institute of Studies, Delhi, in collaboration with Momin Women's College, Dovendi, Mumbai. And in this session, we have 9 speakers and 1.5 year for the permission of the chairperson, Dr. Anita Valmiki. I would like to request the speakers that they have 5 minutes to present their speech or presentation, and within 6 minutes they have to finish it because of the paucity of the time at our disposal, and some 15 minutes we will be using for interaction, and the other 15 minutes we will be using for the remarks of the co-chairperson and chairperson. And with the permission of the chair, let me first invite Uzma Naveed, who is a member United Nations Global
Sir, I would
Dialogue
like to
Foundation
interrupt.
Mumbai.
Sir, I
And
would,
is she online or is she here?
sir, I would like to interrupt. Sir, first presentation is by Miss Simin Bawa. She's requested to come first as she has to travel.
Yes,
It's a request,
She is at
yes.
Syrian 6 here. And
Yes, she's
Ms.
there.
Zabin Bawa, she is head of the Department of Philosophy, Jai Hind College, Mumbai. And her topic is the pathway to peace and harmony, a Buddhist perspective. Over to Ms. Zabin Bawa.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries on the dais, of the dais and students. As my topic is the pathway to peace and harmony, a Buddhist perspective, I'd like to highlight on one very key aspect on this, which is the Buddhist perspective on the causes of violence, conflict and war. Buddhism, being a philosophy and religion with a claim of the reality of existence, has well acknowledged causal forces that could constitute the hindrance to a harmonious living on every level of human actions. Violence and conflict from the perspective of Buddhist principle of dependent origination are same with everything else in the world, a product of causes and conditions. To eliminate violence and conflict, all we have to do is resolve the underlying causes and conditions. The Buddhist analysis of the causes of violence and conflict is arrayed along three domains: the external, the internal, and the root. The external causes of violence and conflicts speak of the fact that the Buddha looks at the external causes of conflicts as consequences derived from a general orientation common to all living beings: avoid harm and obtain happiness. Anything contrary to this would result in disturbing one's peace and lead to conflict, and this would include physical, verbal, and emotional harm. Practicing non-violence in thought, speech, and action would ultimately benefit the practitioner. The internal causes of violence and conflict speak of the fact that Buddhism contends that our external behavior stems from our internal state. External violence and injustice is a response from our inner mental state. So a fragmented, broken, angry, resentful, hatred, unresolved, violent mental state is the deeper cause of all conflict. As violence breeds conflict, policies and laws would be created out of this state of mind, and harm more than help as others' well-being would be undermined. Our subjective views and opinions on one hand and desire for material goods on the other hand is all about our prejudices, polarities, negating others' views, and ultimately a distinction onto us and them, which would then end up in conflicts. The greedy desire to own more and more would breed competition for want of more, followed by conflicts and even wars, as the world is now experiencing. Buddhist philosophy promotes a culture of peace and harmony. From the lens of Buddhism, the focus on individual and inner transformation of attitudes on and interpretations of what happens externally would motivate appropriate change in human behaviors, resulting in elimination of the causes leading to violence and conflicts on all levels of human interactions. The root cause of violence and conflict, Buddha says, is attributed to all our attachments. The resulting harming behavior and the suffering caused due to the root cause of human ignorance. Ignorance does not make us see the cosmic reality that everything in the world is interrelated, interdependent, which separates us from each other, but also from our own limited perspectives. We unknowingly ignore causes and conditions from a broader point of view, and if we all come from the space of ignorance, the world will be full of collective ignorance. This global ignorance is what Buddhism identifies as the root cause of violence, conflict, and war, which prevents human beings to live a peaceful life. As mentioned earlier, that for Buddhism, violence begets violence, and thus Buddhism brings the focus to peace by peaceful means. by shifting our awareness from issues to the causes through dependent origination, making way for the old conditioned violent patterns to undergo transformation for the better by preventing the destructive patterns of violence, thereby making way for peace and harmony. If each one contributes constructively towards the target of peacemaking by working on internally and externally, negative feelings and conflicts will dissolve and peaceful means of thinking, feeling and behaving will become a way of life. This Buddhist way of life may enhance an attitude of self-righteousness not only in confronting violence and injustice, but at times when there are dissatisfactions, impatience, rage, anger, resentment, etc. It will be of a therapeutic nature. It will also help us in understanding the other instead of judging them, thus opening to more creative, non-violent alternatives of promoting peace, a genuine peace by peaceful means. Adopting and imbibing such an attitude will not just lead to peace and harmony, it will also contribute positively towards the cause of equality, national security, peace movement, peace education and social harmony in a more holistic framework, making us more tolerant and patient towards others and ourselves, leading to a harmonious coexistence with others and ourselves. Due to paucity of time, I think here is where I will stop. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Momin, presenting your speech within the given time. And now may I invite Professor Prem Akhtar Mudri, Head Department of Islamic Studies, Manu, Hyderabad. His topic is concept of peace in Islam. Over to Professor Mudri Sahab.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon to all. Due to paucity of time, I would also like to highlight only key points of my paper. As said, my topic is concept of peace in Islam, a need of interreligious understanding in contemporary India. We have to understand that no religion has enmity with others. Nor any teaching of any religion is against the peace of the society and dignity of the humanity. Only wrong interpretation and picking of a teaching out of the context is creating misunderstanding and resulting in problems and miseries. We also know that religion plays a big role in a person's life and has lasting impact on his behavior. Therefore, correct and complete understanding of own religion and better interreligious understanding is always required for keeping peace and prosperity among the followers of different faiths in the society. As a follower of Islam, I would like to mention some basic points regarding Islam in poor society and interreligious understanding. Number one, Islam is a religion of peace. Peace with its fellow followers, with followers of other religions, and with all creatures of universe. The word Islam is itself derived from the root word silm, which means peace. As per the Prophet's hadith, the name of paradise is Darus Salam, which means the house of peace. One of among Allah's many names is As-Salam, that is peace. The greeting in Islam is Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. It means that a Muslim when meets with any person, he first announces that you be in peace from my side. When we name any prophet of any age, we say alayhi salam, which means peace be upon him. And we should know that our last prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when wrote letters to the rulers and emperors of his time, he addressed them with the words, peace be upon those who accept the Almighty's guidance. This short account gives a clear picture that the peace is an integral part of Islam. Number two, Islam is a religion of preaching. One is asked to preach and propagate Islam to the mankind so that they could know what Allah has revealed for them. Islam is not only for Muslim, rather it is for all humanity. Same is the case and fact with Quran, which is the book of Almighty sent for all human beings. But despite this, Quran clearly says that there is no compulsion in religion. It is a choice of a person to accept and embrace what religion he or she likes. So the preaching would be peacefully and without adopting any means of greed or pressure. It must be noted that Islam doesn't believe in making conversion by any means. No, it is un-Islamic and against the teachings of Quran and Hadith. Islam only believes in peaceful preaching and spreading Allah's message to mankind, and every person is free in making his or her choice of acceptance. Several Quranic verses have described it. In one place, Quran says, I quote, "Not upon the messenger is responsibility except for notification, and Allah knows better whatever you reveal and whatever you conceal." Another Quranic verse says, upon you is only the duty of notification, and upon us is the account. Number 3, Islam recognizes all other religions. Difference of religion is considered in Islam as Almighty's plan on earth. Therefore, Islam doesn't abuse any religion, its sacred places and personalities. Quran has forbidden to abuse those who do not have belief in Allah. See, the verse of Quran says, and do not insult those they invoke other than Allah, lest they insult Allah in enmity without knowledge. This is the concept of coexistence and respect for each other in Islam. Number 4, Islam neither asks nor likes others to perform the Islamic rituals and do Islamic worship. I repeat, Islam neither asks nor likes others to perform the Islamic rituals and do Islamic worship. Likewise, it is not acceptable for Muslims to indulge in other religions' worships and religious rituals. Both groups should remain on their paths and practice what their religions have defined for them. This is the coexistence and has no harm for any religions. Last, number 5, Quran and Hadith have always asked its followers to do good deed, practice good behavior, do justice, help, and all kinds of respects to all mankind. This because whole human being is the family of Allah, and the nearest to Allah and the dearest to Him is one who is most beneficial to his family. These are some basic points regarding Islamic concept of peace and interreligious understanding. We need to spread this among people of different faiths in our country today. We hope that this conference will play a role in promoting peace and harmony among religions. I am thankful to GM Momin Women's College and IUS for giving me this opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Payin Akhtar Nadwi, for presenting the gist of your speech within time. Let me now invite Professor Ramindra Pati Pandey, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, SRM University, Sonipat. Your topic is the Buddhist tradition of harmony.
Dr. Saab, basically they are online. We can keep them later on. First there is Uzma Nahid Sahaba, and I have sent you a list, you can see, because some people are available here. Those are online. So let us first finish with the offline, then online. So Professor Uzma Nahid will just be the second. I have sent you the list.
Dr. Zabin Anjum, member United Nations, Global Dialogue Foundation, Mumbai. Over to Dr. Nahid.
Yeah, please. I am sorry for this inconvenience.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. My paper's topic is Basics of Dialogue Between Islam and Oriental Religions. And with the information that I have attended some 30 conferences in the world, but I'm really confused now that are we going to solve the purpose or not. So just, my analysis about the communities in the world, what they are thinking and how they are doing work. Most of the Asia was colonized till first half of the century, and its people were subjected to worst kind of discrimination and oppression. 21st century has brought about many positive changes. The days of colonization are over, and it's globalization now, which brought people together, removing geographical barriers, cultural taboos, and political restrictions. This is fast creating an ethnically homogeneous society averse to xenophobic minds. Most waste of time, energy, and talents. Wherever there is unrest, it is an account of politicizing the issues by corrupt politicians who have double standards. They make hue and cry about one situation and one place, where remain remarkably reticent about similar situation elsewhere. That serves their purpose. For the new generation, it is now global, cultural, that is fraught with opportunities and future. Seeking one's place in most competitive global market is arduous exercise, but worth adopting too. Of late, we find that religious tolerance is also gaining grounds. We face problems when politicians exploit religious sentiments for their ulterior motives. For them, no act of violence against humanity is unjustified, and no word of vulgarity is harsh. However, if we analyze their actions and attendance, there appears to be three reasons. First, they wish to cover up their own injustices in their own society and to humanity. Secondly, they try to win public opinion with this information. And thirdly, they try to infuriate their opponents to incite them to act of violence that also serve their purpose. I have been involved in interfaith dialogues and understanding of others' religions through my foundation. We have successfully conducted many interfaith dialogues jointly with Times Foundation, Times Group, and WMPP, Women's Peace and Prosperity, and IQAC. My personal experience with religious people and groups reveals that there is a tremendous amount of goodwill they can create among masses if they come together very often and express their views publicly. There have been setbacks in their arduous exercise, but as is rightly said, that being defeated is often a temporary condition, but giving up is what makes it permanent. We don't believe and have never involved in debates. We always interact positively, for hearing is inherent, but listening is learned. In a relationship, nothing more important than listening to the other's view. Islam is practiced by 1/5 of the humanity, is a dominant religion in almost 56 countries of the world, and a minority in almost every human society. The impact of its teaching is significant in any society. Islam believes in one human race, no discrimination on account of caste, creed, religion, or geographical boundaries. We all are from one father and mother, and hence all human beings are members of one family. The Holy Quran is so positive about the concept of one human society when it says, "O mankind, we created you from a single pair of a male and female and made you into nations and tribes that you may know each other, not that you may despise each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous of you, and Allah has full knowledge and he is acquainted with all things." Being Muslims, we face many challenges in India. There are always people like, BHP, BJP in India, and Falwell's, Robertson and Grahams in the international scene. It is said that their demagoguery continue to get money, influence and power to help to destroy peace and amity. Through their emotional and often violent actions are providing them with material that helps them sustain. I feel that it is important for Muslims to isolate themselves also to the extremist fringe and let it not destroy the great opportunities that modern society has opened for dialogue and development. In fact, every attack provides us an opportunity which could be used to enhance the understanding of our religion. We should not forget that history of replete with instances when the Muslim, Hindus, Sikhs, Jains and Christians had long experience of living together and contributing to the development of the civilization. They have played the role of catalyst, and in spite of past blunders, they are moving to dialogue, cooperation and coexistence. We have many examples. A large number of Hindus and Christians and fighting for the cause of Muslim rights.
Sorry for interruption. Please conclude your this speech within 1 minute.
Just conclude.
Conclude, okay. Okay. Sorry, okay, no problem. No problem. Here I want to, how many minutes I have? I'm not told. 3 minutes. In 3 minutes I can. You must have told. Here I want to tell you one important, example of our, experience. The clash between two religions of their people of different faiths starts only when they try not to, they do not adhere to the basic principle of their own religion. In a program of interfaith organized by our organization, the topic was Vedas, Hindu scriptures and Quran, Islamic books of faith, how close, how far. A Muslim scholar from Darul Uloom Deoband, while speaking of the subject, rightly pointed out that the issue is nor whether the Vedas and Quran are close or far, but it should be how far or close are Muslims with Quran and Hindus with Vedas. And it's the same thing with the other scriptures also. Here I just want to conclude with some ideas like in the world when I attended the UN conferences, 2 conferences of Writers and Journalists Association, they selected to all the communities together, and they are and the same thing they were prescribing what we are doing here. The world is asking the help of the religious communities to come together and to spread the peace, and they are working on that. So I think that the idea of this conference is really wonderful, and I appreciate, and I just say congratulations to IOC and this Momin College. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, who is now is anybody offline there? Any speaker offline there? If not, let me invite Professor Ravindra Pati Pandey, Assistant Professor, Department of Technology.
Dr. Saab, he is not present, and he will not be present in the paper. I have sent you the list now. If you read from that, because the people are present here, so first let them present their papers, then we will see if the online people are available, then they will present their papers.
Dr. Dijit Kaur.
I have sent you the list, now you see that. And according to that list, you may invite,
Yes, Miss Dr. Rina Avnish Patel Ambedkar is Dr. Rina Ayman Nazir. Is Ayman Nazir?
Yes, sir, I am present.
Yes. Research scholar just center me.
Sir, how much time? 5 minutes?
In the dialogue among Indian religions.
Okay, can you just... Thank you, organizers for giving me an opportunity. I'm presenting my thoughts. My title of the paper is Teachings, Revisiting the Warkari Literature for the Interfaith Dialogue for Promoting Peace and Harmony. The term interfaith dialogue indicates to cooperative, constructive and positive interaction between people belonging to different religious tradition or faith in relation to spiritual or humanistic belief. At both individual and institutional levels, it is the way of communication where people belonging to different religion and faith have a dialogue which involves promotion, understanding of different religions or belief to increase acceptance of others rather than to blend a new beliefs. Interfaith dialogues have come to be known as the interfaith dialogue or interpath dialogue where different paths are coming together. The saints belonging to the Bhakti tradition like Kabir, Dadu, Sant Jnaneshwar, Tukaram, Namdev, Sheikh Muhammad, Soirabai, Bainabai, Chokha Mera, Gora Kumar, Sauta Mari, Narsi Mehta belonging to the Bhakti movement, as well as the Sufi saints, Nizamuddin Auliya, Moinuddin Chishti, Haji Mallang, they became the part of the Indian ethos and laid a path of ethical commemoration. They went for they came from the different religion and caste in the society, but they practiced and preached the path of bhakti, which was all inclusive. They all embraced the people belonging to the different caste, religion, and the gender. They tried to set up a social order which was inclusive of all, which was based on the rationality, equality, liberty, and fraternity, so the harmony and the peace can prevail in the society. This was an attempt to democratization of religion. Such values are needed in today's world of differences where arises due to the caste, religion, and then gender. Dialogue needs a profound change of attitude from both the sides, and this sense really laid a path for that. It is a graduating from mere tolerance to accepting and respecting the others, respecting the others and his or her otherness. This is the celebration and recognition that the other has something of value to offer and accommodate him or her. So the dialogue being a medium to bring people together belonging to the different views, set of values and faith which help to share common ground and bring other and self together. Maharashtra, being the center of confluence and conversion of multiculture, had the tradition of great Warkari saint, which I have just taken the name. Among them, they are not only the saints, but they were the mystics and belonging to the different caste and religion. Philosophy of Warkari Sampradaya is a bedrock on which the lofty and noble temple of the Bhakti cult in Maharashtra is created. They led the growth of unity and harmony among the masses. Their humanitarian ideas had great impact on the masses of Maharashtra. They believed in social equality, preached universal brotherhood, and propagated the religious tolerance. All Warkari saints propagated the ideas of true knowledge of the divine can be achieved only through the selfless devotion. This paper tries to focus upon this only, where the Warkari saints come with the simple language of the masses and where they flourish the idea of the liberty, universal brotherhood, and fraternity. That is the accepting otherness of others. The few things which we can focus on is that this path is not only the path of preaching, but it is a path of practice, where they have discarded the religious practices which was belonging to the priestly practices. So they rejected this domination. They rejected the caste. They rejected the religion. They said that we are one and we will be adjoining to the deity which is called as Mauli, that is mother. Warkari saint, when we say that Naneshwari is wrote in Marathi, and it's a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, but it is in Marathi, which is considered as giving the universal message. The Tukaram Gatha is also in Marathi, so you can just see it's a language of masses. We can come across in this oneness and acceptance of otherness in one of the beautiful abhangas of Soirabai, where she says that अवघा रंग एक झाला रंगली रंगला श्रीरंग मी तू पण गेले वाया पाहता पंढरीचा राण नाही भेदाचे ते काम पळूनी गेले क्रोध काम देही असोनी विदेही सदा समाधिष्ट पाही पहाते पाणे गेले दुरी म्हणे सोखियाची महारी. She belongs to the down to earth caste, but still she says that we have become one into that when we go to the Vitthal. One important saint of Varkari, that is Sheikh Muhammad, he says that through the grace of Gopala, the name of Lord Krishna, I have transgressed all notion of purity and impurity. The jackal fruit has a thorny skin, but inside it has a lumps of sugar. The beehive with all its humming bees contain the very sweet nectar. So also Sheikh Muhammad may be an Avindha Muslim, but in his heart he has the very Govinda. So from this it says that Dhaneshwar says that Je Je Bhete Bhuta Te Te Mani Je Bhagwanta, that we all are one, whether we are living or non-living, but we belong to this Lord Vitthala, which try to focus upon the peace and harmony. The understanding of peace, and which includes the various levels of relationship, beginning with personal peace and expanding to the wider circle, like global peace, intergroup, social peace, interpersonal peace, personal peace, with will the helpful for the self-respect, respect for others, respect for justice, tolerance, cooperation, and respect for other groups belonging to the different caste and religion. This is a selfless lifestyle which they proclaim and they lead also. So as we can come across, it's not just living being, but any living form, it is there. So the word being has been used. In the Abhangas of Santa Tukaram, we can come across this when he says that खेळ मांडियेला वाळवंटी खाई नाचती वैष्णव भाई रे क्रोध अभिमाना गेला पावटणी एका एका लागतील पायरे. You belong to whichever caste, whichever class, you have to prostrate in front of them. वर्ण अभिमान विसरली याती एक एका लोटांगणी जाती निर्मळ चित्ते झाली नवनीते पाषाणा पाजर फुटती रे. So this philosophy of Varkari emphasizes the emotion is blind, so it has to make us work like a blind person. Therefore, it is necessary to work out a blend of philosophy, bhakti and moral conduct in the social and the personal life of each one. As it reminds the Vishwa Gita given by Naneshwara, which is known as the Pasayadana universal prayer. Ata Vishwatmake Deve, Yene Vagyatne Toshave, Toshoni Mazadave, Pasayadane, जे खळांची व्यंकटी सांडो तया सत्कर्म रती वाढो भूता परस्पर जळो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरितांचे तिमिर जाओ विश्व स्वधर्म सूर्य पाहो जो जे वांछिल तो ते लाहो प्राणी जात वर्षत सकळ मंगळी ईश्वर निष्ठियांची मानवी आळी अनवरत भूमंडळी भेटू तू या भूता. मे darkness of the ignorance disappear. May the universe see the sun of the self-consciousness. May whatsoever aspiration of those be fulfilled. All living beings. This universal prayer resounds across the country, which speak. I'll just conclude, sir. This focuses on the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is Sarva Dharma Samabhava. It echoes the UNESCO's preamble, which says that since war begins in the minds of men, it is the minds of the men that defenses of peace must be constructed. So let's come together with the philosophy of Varkari. We can construct the peace on this earth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The list which I have now received. And the next speaker in it is given Amina Hamid. Let me invite Amina Hamid to speak on the topic and introduce it, as it is not living with me.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amina and I am pursuing my integrated English literature from Amar Singh College from Amar Singh College, Kashmir. Thank you. The topic that I will be speaking on today is religious harmony from the Islamic viewpoint. The history of the intellectual clash between Islam and the West, particularly in the present age, shows that the same term offered by the West and produced in its environment carry Western meaning and concepts and reflect historical concepts and background which despite its Western content is applied to Muslims to explain certain aspects of their lives regardless of the wide gulf between religious histories and circumstances. Since the subject of extremism and terrorism has come up these days in context with Muslims living in a non-Muslim country, or non-Muslims living within Muslim countries, or belligerent Muslims living in Muslim country, therefore we need to understand the concepts of various denominations of houses like Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam, which is needed in order to understand that non-state actors who perpetuate terrorism are not entitled to such initiative, like waging war against states or individuals. The Muslim jurists, like the jurists of Christendom, until very recent times, divided the world into two portions. One, like Darul Harab, the country of warfare, and other Darul Islam, the country of peace. Juristically, all Muhammadan nations were at peace with each other. As a matter of fact, no Muslim sovereign could declare war against another without first pronouncing him to be a heretic and beyond the pale of Islam. The non-Muslim subjects of Muslim states are called Zimmis. The non-Muslim sovereign at peace with Islamic states are called Mustamins. The Muslim jurists have defined the standards of relationship and agreements among the nations and the individuals, which cannot be violated, with the exception of the Shafis, who regard a bequest by a Muslim to a non-Muslim to be unqualifiedly unlawful. All the other schools admit the validity of a wasiyat in favor of a non-Muslim who does belong to the Darul Harb and consequently is not an alien. The Islamic law is decidedly more generous than the English law was until a few years ago. The incapacity of aliens in England was removed only in 1870. Dar al-Ahad. A third term has been used to define Dar al-Islam, and that is Dar al-Sulh. This term, alternatively Dar al-Sulh, was coined by Imam Shafi because of the difficulty he had in including in Dar al-Islam such non-Muslim territories in which Muslims were free and secure. Dar al-Ahad for al-Shafi was non-Muslim territory, which was in treaty agreement with the Muslim state. Dr. Ubadullah Fahad, Islamic Polity and Orientalists, Institute of Islamic Studies, AMU Aligarh, Dar al-Ahad, this term alternatively, to say that there has to be every place converted to Dar al-Islam and a Muslim cannot live within a non-Muslim country is a new innovation, especially in the context of the Muslim minorities. But Islamic Sharia has already laid down the legislations even in such circumstances also, because the majority of the fiqh agree to allow an individual to stay in Dar al-Harb even if he does not fear fitna on account of his faith. Even Imam Shafi has forbidden Muslims to leave their homelands if they enjoy religious freedom. As more and more Muslim communities fell under non-Muslim rule, Muslim fuqaha relaxed the rules and greatly diluted the old concept of Dar al-Islam. A great Hanafi authority, Ibn Abidin, for instance, further relaxed the limits of Dar al-Islam, whereas country formerly under non-Muslim rule could still be regarded as Dar al-Islam if certain conditions are fulfilled. The Maliki Mufti of Tunis, Ibn Ashur, positively advised Muslims under colonial rule not to immigrate. Mujtahids like Abdu and Rashid Rida took a similar view. Indeed, freedom of faith may be more available today in some non-Muslim lands in comparison with some Muslim ones. Fear of fitna in the old sense was applicable until recently only to Muslim communities in some communist countries. Thus, to create chaos and resort to extremist activities in a well-ordered state is not allowed by Islam. The non-Muslims also will enjoy all the basic rights in a Muslim country, and Sharia permits even their religious freedom and freedom of conscience to the non-Muslims in a Muslim state. the Hidayah, the very famous legal treatise of Hanafis, says, if a Jew or a Christian not suffering from a mortal disease were to build a church or a synagogue and then die, such building would descend to his or her heirs, because Abu Hanifa holds an erection of this nation to be equivalent to a waqf or pious appropriations. If a Zimmi declares that after his death, his house should be converted to a church or synagogue, as the case may be for a specified sect of people, the bequest should be valid accordingly to all the doctors. The argument of Abu Hanifa is that the founding of churches or synagogues is held by these persons to be an act of piety, and as we are enjoined to leave them to the exercise of whatever may be agreeable to their faith, the bequest is therefore lawful in conformity with their belief. Islam is very clear about the relations of Muslims with non-Muslims and had laid down the injunctions for treating them with tolerance and justice. Because Islam is a religion of tolerance, ease and flexibility, and at the same time it is the religion of justice. It is an honorable intention if a Muslim creates harmony between himself and the disbeliever, so that to call him to Islam and save him from the kufr and the misguidance. Even Muslims can trade with the disbeliever, and there is no objection to using what the disbelievers produce in case of need. Even to live among the polytheists and disbelievers for the purpose to invite them to the truth with evidence, hoping that they will respond to our call, is allowed. It is permissible for a Muslim to give a share of the meat of his slaughtered animal to a disbelieving neighbor in order to soften his heart to fulfill his obligations to his neighbor. We can feed the disbeliever, both the one who is under treaty with us and the prisoner of war, from the meat of the sacrifice. The Prophet ﷺ ordered Asma bint Abu Bakr to give her mother some money while she was still a disbeliever. The Prophet, we can reciprocate the greetings of non-Muslims by wa alaikum assalam, and can ask about the welfare of their family members, as have been permitted by a number of scholars, including the Tamiyya. The ideal way for the Muslims to treat the dhimmi is to discharge our obligations to him as a person living under our protection, based upon the Quranic verses and ahadith, which order us to fulfill our covenant with him, to be kind to him.
Please conclude now within 2 minutes.
I'm about to conclude.
Please conclude now within 2 minutes.
Thank you, Jazakallah.
Yes, our next speaker is Miss Nubbi Hani. She is an assistant professor, Department of Psychology, GM, Momin College, Mumbai. Please.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning, good afternoon all. Okay. The title of my paper, God bless you, can the soul play a role in wellness? Does religiosity actually keep one healthy? Are godliness and wellness linked? These inquiries spring as many studies have demonstrated that religious people score high on measures of well-being. Religiosity is often seen as the formal and outward expression of one's relationship with the sacred. Subjective well-being concerns people's evaluations of the quality of their own lives. This appraisal comprises a cognitive component, that is the values people consider important and worth pursuing in life, and an affective component, the balance between positive and negative affect. Subjective well-being therefore corresponds to an overall satisfaction with one's life. A major justification of the public acceptance and financial support of religious institutions is the belief that religious teachings strengthen citizens' values and morality, and that religion contributes to people's sense of meaning, identity, and life goals, and thus to their well-being. Carl Jung believed that religion was quite valuable to our psychological health. Religion was instrumental for facilitating human cooperation on an unprecedented scale, operating to the collective unconscious to grip our mind. There are many studies which demonstrate that how religiosity affects well-being. Psychologists recommend similar mechanisms to those used by religious people to increase well-being and reduce distress. Religiosity was found to be a determinant factor in adolescent psychological health except for depression. People who are religious in terms of beliefs have less negative impact of accidents which can cause traumas. Religion's role in buffering stress is clearer among women, among older adults, and among ethnic minorities. Also, very religious people tend to show slightly lower death anxiety. Across cultures and religions, studies favor the idea that religion also plays a protective role against mental health risks resulting from impulsivity, such as antisocial conduct and substance abuse. One of the social functions of religion is control of certain behavior. There are additional effects of religiosity on health, that is the lower rates of suicide and suicidal attempts, also slightly higher longevity that can partly explained by hygienic practices such as low alcohol, drug or tobacco use. Priming or implicitly presented religious ideas, images and symbols activated pro-social intentions and behaviors such as generosity and cooperation. The positive influence of religiosity is substantial. Individuals with strong religious faith report higher levels of life satisfaction, greater personal happiness, and fewer negative psychosocial consequences of traumatic life events. However, other research failed to find any connection between religiosity and life satisfaction, thus questioning the existence of a direct relationship between individuals' beliefs as well as attitudes toward religion and their own satisfaction with life. A possible explanation of the inconsistency of findings across studies might lie in the different operationalization of those constructs and in the diverse instruments used to measure them. Both religiosity and spirituality have been defined and measured differently across studies. An empirical study was conducted by me in this college using the participants as my students. Students were the participants in the study. The aim was to examine the relationship between religiosity and well-being. The participants, the age range between 18 to 21 years, all Muslim students from this college. Two scales were used, the centrality of religiosity scale and the satisfaction with life scale. The relationship between the two variables was tested by a Pearson product Momin correlation coefficient. The results showed religiosity is positively correlated with well-being, the correlation being 0.511. This is a very weak correlation, but nevertheless positive one. Limitations are there in the study. The sample is very small. All the participants belong to the same college. So we cannot really generalize these results. And this research is limited by the use of self-report scales. In conclusion, I would like to say the soul's connection to the body is something the X-ray doesn't show. Thank you.
Thank you. May I invite now Dr. Diljit Kaur, Associate Professor, Mata Sundari College for Women, University of Delhi. Our topic is Sikh Gurdwaras, Epitome of Peace and Harmony. Dr. Diljit Kaur.
Hello, good afternoon, all present here.
Yes.
I would like to thank all the dignitaries sitting in the dais, and my special thanks to Professor Narazi, whom I met a few months ago, and my best wishes to the all present here. So I have been listening to all. So the approximate time given to us is 5 minutes, or I think depending upon team. So my topic is Sikh Gurdwara's epitome of peace and harmony. I happened to visit Sri Kartarpur Sahib in November 2019, and this inspired me to just present few lines on this. So this is Jahar Peer Jagatguru Baba. This is again very near to me because it depicts Peer in Islamic and Guru in Hinduism, and the role he is on Guru Nanak is depicting everything. So this is, I would like to start from this by Gurdas Wali. Darghar andar dhanamsal hove kirtan sabha suhela. This is the basic line that these are the Guru Nanak started. These are the Sikh institutions: Dharamsal, Sangat, Langar, Pangat, Scribe, Adi Granth, Akal Takht, Guru Granth, Pannama and all. So I would like to skip few slides. This is Sri Kartarpur Sahib, Pakistan, which I just shared. I happened to visit there. So this is, I would define it as the corridor of peace and harmony in the special era. It actually started, Guru Nanak stayed here after coming from his udasis for around 18 years. And this land was given to him, and here he stayed and he propagated the Interfaith Dialogue. So Guru Nanak began his missionary journey by holding his first ever Interfaith Dialogue at Sultanpur Lodi, and by visiting major religious centers of the world where he promoted interfaith dialogues. Understanding the main topic of this whole conference, interfaith, and so as the practice was there, I'm just skipping again. The land was donated by the Karodi of that area, and as for the Janam Sakhis, Eastern Door, I'm just trying to the structure to link with the interfaith, the philosophy, the ideology which Guru Nanak propagated and the Sikhism later on propagated. So in the sitting area, I will be just showing you few pics which I have taken from that Kartarpur side. So the Kartarpur side got affected during, this is the history in the natural calamities, but again it was repaired and fully restored in 2004, and the Ardas of Sikh community of Kule Darshan Didare, it happened in 2000. This is, I would just like to show you this, these are the few slides. This was the old Kartarpur historic site and external restoration work. And this is the well dug by Guru Nanak at that time. These are the recent pics which I have taken and taken from the archives, again from Guru Nanak's Mazar. As I told you in the earlier slides, that on the one side there was the Mazar, and on the other side there is the cremation site of, this is the birthplace of Sikhism. And this slide is very dear to me, which I have taken this pics from, showing that how people were, how they donated money for upcoming of these sites in those times. Not any distinction of Hindu or Muslim and any. This is basically written in Gurmukhi, but everything is Gurmukhi describes. Now again I am taking the second Gurdwara, Harimandar Sahib, Amritsar. Again foundation stone was laid by Hazrat Mian Mir of Lahore. This is the Harimandar Sahib, Golden Temple. This is the layout which I want to bring to your notice, that it is open for all, from all sides, but way to going into the main premises is one, depicting that all are one, equality for one. This is the architecture again, the whole architecture. The ornamentation is very important. These are the inner walls of Harimandar Sahib. Arches, niches, inlay gold work, they all are taken from the Indo-Islamic art. Everything is there. The dome is very special, represent the synthesis of all important characteristics of the shapes. Chhatris, dome, you can say the amalgamation of lotus, reverse lotus of Buddhist and the Hindu architecture. These are the domes of different Gurdwara depicting Indo-Islamic expression. again the Pietro Dura art. And this is, I would like to wind it up here. But nowadays, recent studies, we are doing many things about the interfaith dialogue, but the Sahaj in Buddhist literature and Sahaj in Gurmukhi, where 15 Bhaktas Banis are there, Baba Farid Bani is there. So I think this whole concept is of talking about the religious pluralism, respecting them, and this is the conclusion. I would like to read it out. I think I have a time of 1 minute to two. The Dharamsala Sanghas founded by Guru Nanak flourished into Darbar Sahib and then into Gurdwaras under 6th Guru. 6 Gurdwaras in the coming centuries proved not only religious centers but played a pivotal role in the development and transformation of Sikhism. In the 18th century, Gurdwaras with their Nishan said, this is a kind of a flag we will be able to see in the Gurdwara, which is a must in every Gurdwara, visible. Especially in the 18th century, it was visible, and it from distance proved shelter places for the common people suffering from the invasions of Ahmed Abdali and people from. So at present, Sikhs following this Guru's ideology and precepts of interfaith dialogues and religious pluralism are serving in the Gurdwaras for the well-being of all humanity, and this is the legacy of, we all know, legacy of Sikhism in 20th century, how Khalsa is working on the precepts of Guru Nanak and Sikh ideology, on the concept of Seva. So this is the takeaway message given, this is not my message, this is given by founder of Sikhism, that is Manas ki jaat sabhe ke pehchan wo, Nanak naam chaddi kala, tere pani sarbat da bhala. Sarbat da bhala is the best, all the best and well-being of all in the universe. So thank you from my side, giving me this opportunity to share these slides with you. So thanks all present here. Thank you all, and all the best for the tomorrow and other sessions. Thank you.
Whoever is present, then okay, otherwise
Thank you, Dr. Kapoor. Thank you, Dr. Kapoor. Let me invite Ayman Nazir. Let me invite Ayman Nazir for a presentation. Our topic is interfaith dialogue among Indian religions. Dr. Ayman Nazir.
Assalamu alaikum, I am audible.
Yes, you are right.
Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon to all the dignitaries. The title of my paper is Interfaith Dialogue Among Indian Religions. Interfaith dialogue, also termed as interreligious dialogue, concerns the mutual understanding and tolerance among different religious communities. It encompasses the intentional encounter and interaction among the members of different religions. Or in other words, we can say it refers to the positive and cooperative interaction between the people of different religion, faith or spiritual belief, with the aim of promoting understanding between different religions to increase the acceptance and tolerance. Interreligious understanding focuses on bridging the gap between the people of vibrant cultures with a perspective to vindicate the interreligious understanding among different faiths. This dialogue aims at the viewpoint or opinion or idea discussed to come to a constructive agreement between the parties involved in dialogue, which may result in a positive conclusion. Thus, when we talk about interfaith dialogue, a broader concept of pluralism needs to be addressed. Religious pluralism, broadly constructed, responds to the diversity of religious beliefs, practices and traditions that exist both in contemporary world and throughout history. And in the context of India, which is often referred to be as the land of plurality,
India has been a birthplace of multiple religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and during the course of history, many foreign religions, including Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, also started to develop here. Thus, India is a homeland to diverse religious cultures and identities. Therefore, Interfaith Dialogue is at the very core among Indian religions and has been practiced for centuries. Thus, to improve the overall plausibility of religious pluralism in India, it is necessary to transform the possibility of inter-religious acceptance into actuality. Thus, it's vital to develop inter-religious interaction of mutuality and acceptability to set up a pluralistic society. Thus, all the Indian religions hold the scope of dialogue to foster the collaboration among different religious faiths. And when we discuss the pluralistic notion in Indian context, the different scriptures, they always focus on inter-religious understanding. Each religion contains many cultural, social and ritualistic elements that cut across boundaries of different religious beliefs. As in Hinduism, it always speaks about assembling and speaking together to come to the common term, united to the thought so that we all may live happily agree. And the Buddhism, it also says a person who gets attached to a single viewpoint and looks down upon others, he is called as a fetter. And similarly, Sikhism, it calls the diverse religions as one, and the religious labels are just temporary and wither away with the bodily vestures. Similarly, in Jainism, the concept of Anikambad and Syadvad, to hold up the concept of multiple existence. Similarly, the Islam, it always says that, O people of the book, let's come to common terms between us. So in all the cases, inter-religious understanding is greatly fostered. So, but inter-religious understanding is not as easy as it seems to be. As the path of inter-religious dialogue isn't always a broad highway wherein everyone could march. There are various challenges to inter-religious understanding. However, some of the broader challenges which I am going to discuss are religious exclusivism. Adopting that upholds that only one religion is true, authentic and dialogue and cooperation between different religious groups is thus essential in this age of national and international tension. Such dialogue and cooperation can be achieved only with the awareness or sensitivity of both exclusivist and universalist tendencies in religious communities. Second, the challenges which have been faced by the religious minorities. Religious minorities in India have always been facing challenges due to which inter-religious understanding have always been hampered. The religions are being used to aspire the hatred, and in this space the religious minorities are greatly challenged. As the most recent, we can say the hijab ban in educational institutions, or the case of triple talaq, which have been primarily the case for Muslims, but it has always become such in the scenario of political instability. It hampered the inter-religious understanding, or the promotion of different movies or a different cinema. In the cinema, it can provide as a hurdle for inter-religious understanding. So unless religion are a part of the solution, they will continue to be part of the problem. So in this contemporary notion, how can inter-religious dialogue be promoted in India? As it has been rightly said, I quote, "No world peace without peace between religions. No peace between religions without dialogue between believers of different religious traditions." Though also the most important thing for the promotion of inter-religious understanding is the development of collaborative tasks. Collaborative tasks create opportunities for religious communities to work together in a safe environment. It can also foster more interest in working with the religious identities to solidify trust and solidarity between the participants. Second, it is the integration of social and academic institutions. On one hand, social institutions have to pay attention by putting the stockholders on the table, and on the other hand, academic institutions have to support them so that the true meaning of pluralism would be understood at the grassroots level. The academic institution must design the curriculum to help in building the peace, building a nation. And the third is the religious tolerance, and that's the ability to appreciate spiritual values, beliefs and practices of others so that we can live in a peaceful and harmony environment. So in conclusion, I would say that in India, there is a need to adopt a working model for fruitful dialogue progress. A better understanding of pluralism would lead to fruitfulness result of dialogue. Similarly, through dialogue, mutual respect and religious coexistence must be primary discourse for dialogue initiatives. Intercommunity relations and the social status and religious tolerance are the key fields to promote humanity. And through the pragmatic approach, humanity at large must remain preference instead of individualism. Peace and harmony must be preferred while teaching the religious doctrines in pluralistic societies. And at last, dialogue between followers of different faith traditions can be an excellent way to heal the divisions in a society, indicating that a positive, meaningful relationship with someone of different background and learning about their identity correlates to making that person's entire group more favorable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayman, for this nice presentation. Now there will be our last speakers. It is a joint presentation by Asra Aslam and Sajjad Ahmad, research scholars, Department of Islamic Studies, Ghulam Shah Badshah University, Rajouri, J&K. The topic is Islam and peaceful coexistence, an appraisal of Misa-e-Madina. Asra Aslam.
Who are present here. Assalamu alaikum. The title of my presentation is Islam. The title of my presentation is Islam and Peaceful Coexistence, an appraisal of Misa-e-Madina. Let me start with introduction. Peace and kindness are inherent in human nature. It's a natural instinct to have comprehension and affection for others. It is undeniable fact that Islam, from its etymology, is a religion of peace and harmony. As such, it calls its adherents to enjoy peace with each other. It also invites Muslims to build harmony with non-Muslims and other religions. The Quran teaches to live in peace and to assist one another in good deeds. As a result, fighting is a secondary principle in Islam, not a primary one. Peaceful coexistence of Islam. Peaceful coexistence of Islam and its tolerance are very much evident in the divinely ordained verse as well as in the preachings and actions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As it is obvious in the constitution of Medina that was formed by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in 622 CE, in the framing of the society of Medina with the other, the constitution formed is regarded as the earliest of the documented paper in the history which manifests peace and love of varied communities living together. Peaceful coexistence is a concept related to the international relations and one of the fundamental principles of international law. The principle of peaceful coexistence is a universally recognized principle of modern international law, whereas international law of past was the law and peace. It has today become a law of peace and peaceful coexistence. This is a 1962 declaration of the Committee of Peaceful Coexistence of the Soviet Association of International Law. From this declaration, it is understood that international law and the principle of peaceful coexistence are not used interchangeably. Peaceful coexistence implies that although conflict and disagreement may still be intact, that involved groups have decided to abandon violent ways of confrontation and to choose new in the peace using peaceful means to achieve their goals. Islamic perspective of peaceful coexistence. Islam teaches that mankind has originated from a single soul, Adam, and that Adam was made from the earth, which means that all human beings were made from the earth too. Therefore, they are equal and honorable, and they deserve to be respected. Quran says, "From the earth did we create you, and into it shall we return you, and from it shall we bring you out once again." In another verse, it states, "O mankind, be mindful of your Lord, who created you from a single soul, and from it he created its mate, and both he separated countless man and woman. And be mindful of Allah, in whose name you appeal to one another, and honor family ties. Surely Allah is ever watchful over you." From the above-mentioned verse, it is understood that peaceful coexistence of mankind is based, among others, on fairness and good treatment to all human beings, without discrimination on the basis of religion, color, race, sex, or nationality. Prophetic implication of peaceful teachers. I'm audible?
You are audible. You are having now conclude it. Have a conclusion.
Okay, sir. I will give a brief highlight the main points of the Misaki Medina. The Pact Treaty of Medina is the first ever written constitution in the history of world, formed and signed in 622 CE at Medina between Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Jews and other inhabitants of the Medina. It set the best example for the establishment of peaceful coexistence among different religious groups, not only in the history of Islam, but also in that of mankind. It was executed for 10 years under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and aimed at governing a multi-religious pluralistic society. Different religious communities, Jews, pagans, Christians, and Muslims, that shows enmity towards one another for several centuries, became parties to the pact and started living together peacefully in a single society. Remarkably, 45% of the total population in Medina at that time comprised of non-Muslims, Arabs, 40% comprised of Jews, and only 15% comprised of Muslims. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam executed the Charter Act as a leader of minority. The Charter has 47 clauses dealing with various aspects of society, including social, economic, political, and most importantly, the religious, and it formed a sovereign nation state with common citizenship for every individual of all communities. So I will conclude. I don't make this description of these articles. So I skip this slide. I will reach my conclusion. Peaceful coexistence among diverse groups of people belonging to different religious ethnicities, tribes, races, color, language, and nationalities has undoubtedly been considered a precondition of social security and global peace. From the above discussion, it became very clear that the teachings of Islam very much promote the principle of peaceful coexistence. It not only allows non-Muslims to perform their religious practices in their religious houses, but also provide complete security to their rights, properties, and dignities. Indeed, the peaceful coexistence of Islam and its tolerance are obvious in the Constitution of Medina that was established by Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where relation of Muslims with non-Muslims was based on fraternity, love, tolerance, mutual beneficial relations, and peaceful coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you, Asra. I think the list which has been given to me of the speakers, I have exhausted that list. All the speakers made their speeches and presentations, and I think there is hardly scope for interaction due to the paucity of time, and we have our chairperson and the co-chairperson. May I now have the honor to request Chairperson Dr. Anita Valmiki to have her...
Dr. Sahab, Rishi Sahab, first Professor Krishna Murthy, I will speak something, then afterwards Professor Valmiki. Yeah.
Yes, Krishnamurti, may please have your speech. Krishnamurti. Hello. Hello, am I audible, sir? Yes, you are very much audible. Okay. First of all, my thanks goes to the Institute of Objective Studies and Women's College for having arranged such a wonderful seminar on need of the interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony. And it's Anubula Razi for having given me a chance. I am really elated and I am thankful for that and for the organizers of this seminar come webinar. In the first session, 7 of the wonderful speakers who emphasized the need for social harmony. One is very clear, the whole world is in a very chaotic condition, that not having the social harmony and peace as we have around 196 countries, that only 4 of the 196 countries are living in social harmony and peace in the whole of the world is really very pathetic indeed. So this reflects how much of effort is required to promote the social harmony in this of multiculturalism, various religions, various castes, various civilizations and various languages. And you'll be surprised that presently we have around 700 crores of people living, and by 2050 it's going to be 900 crores of people. That is 30 years. So the people at the age of 20 years will be very high. So our first aim of developing social harmony and peace is only towards educating these people, because they are the future prospects of this world. So we have to, concentrate in these lines to promote social harmony and peace and educate them right from their childhood. And that is my innate wish. And secondly, the humanity prefers to live in peace. And to live as peace means we interact with those concerned around us in accordance with our wholeness of mind. Our reactions to circumstances can bring peace to an otherwise chaotic situation. Blessed are the people, or the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God as per Jesus Christ. Peace, taking ourselves first. As rightly pointed out by the first speaker, I think fucking Athar, he emphasized about that. I've also noted some of the points, of the speakers who have given excellent points, but due to paucity of time, I think it's not covered to purchase fly-by-night or overnight material to discuss about peace and harmony. It requires a lot of efforts, a lot of religious prophets of various religions to discuss
people and develop the social harmony and peace. We must, by removing avidya, asmita, raga, desha and abhidesha as per Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we have to remove the and remove the abuse that will certainly pave way for our development towards peace from materialistic world to spiritualistic world. I'm not telling that all of us has to migrate to spirituality possible as we are living in the 21st century. One thing is certain, that we can certainly develop to a great extent what is not happening here now. Can be developed. And this is my ultimate wish, and this can be developed by the mind becomes quiet in the presence of happiness, compassion in unhappiness, joy in the presence of virtue, and in the this is what Patanjali has told in Patanjali Yoga Sutra as Maitri Karuna Mudito Upekshanam Punya Apunya Vashiyanam Subhadukka Apunya Prasadanam. So we have to, understand all this and work towards prosperity of the human being as well as bring a social harmony and peace in all areas, and all of them, in my opinion, due to paucity of time, they were not able to fully, rather discuss about the social harmony and peace, but some of them, or really all of them, have done their best to expose harmony and peace, which is the need of the hour. Thank you very much, sir.
For the illuminating remarks, we are thankful for them on this occasion. Yes, let me have the honor to request Dr. Amita Valmiki to have her presidential remarks on this session.
मेरे ख्याल में प्रोफेसर साहब you have completed?
He has completed now. We are now inviting Dr. Anita Valmiki, chairperson of this session, for her remarks.
Yeah, it is such a proud privilege for me to be as a chairperson of this session. I would request everybody to be quiet there. If we are more quiet, probably we can hear each and every word very clearly. But the problem was that often we are unconsciously, as I was, having the last some remarks and we were discussing about something. So we had many presenters in this particular session. The first presenter, Simmin Bawa, I will just speak a line about all the presenters. Professor Simmin Bawa spoke about to remove violence and conflict. Yes. Are the underlying causes and conditions which is to be seen from Buddhist perspective, and that is always dependent on the theory of dependent origination, Pratitya Samutpapada. Ignorance is the main cause of this violence and conflicts that we are suffering. Professor Fahim Akhtar Nadwi, who spoke about correct and proper understanding of Islam and other religions, will lead to peace and harmony. Professor Nuzma Nahid spoke about basics of dialogue between Islam and Oriental religions. According to her, some politicians have vitiated the atmosphere and have shunned religious dialogue. I translated her Islamic version into Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is clearly reflected in Islam according to her. point of view. Dr. Reena Pitade Purarkar spoke about revisiting Varkari saints' Sampradaya literature, that is Bhakti Marg for peace and harmony. The Bhakti tradition believes in all inclusiveness. The philosophy of Varkari breeds equality and fraternity. Ms. Amna Hamid spoke about Muslims' need to practice peace between each other. She spoke between each other between the communities. She spoke of different houses in Islam for peace. Person Nabi Hani spoke about, if I'm not wrong in pronouncing your name, religion contributes to culture, society, and ultimately to peace. Carl Gustav Jung spoke about how religion can be stress buster and has tremendous impact on our unconscious. Quiet, please. There in the end, please be quiet. Madam gave case study. This was very interesting and explained how religion has correlation to maintain balance, especially in a country like India. Dr. Daljeet Kaur, she spoke about Sikh Gurudwara's contribution to peace and harmony. She spoke in detail of Kartarpur Gurudwaras and many other Gurudwaras and their historical and spiritual relevance. Interfaith Dialogue of Indian Religion was spoken by Aiman Nazir. She said that this develops understanding between different faiths. What role does different Indian religions play is building inter-religious dialogue. Ms. Azra Aslam and K. Sajid Ahmed jointly presented a paper where they spoke on how Islam propagates peaceful coexistence. The paper was an appraisal to Mithaq Medina. It was very interesting and of course I learned a lot. Thank you for the opportunity, IOS, and also GM Momin Women's College. Thank you so much for giving this honor. Thank you.
Should we start new session? Yeah, please. You are on this.
Here we finish with the business session 1. I would request Nisar sir and Uzair Fakki sir to please felicitate our chairperson, Amita ma'am, please. Faisal bhai, please do the needful. Lakshmi ma'am. We begin with business session 2. The moderator, Radha ma'am.
You have to introduce others also. Just मैं सबसे पहले कहूँ इसके बाद फिर नजर इसका कहूँगा इसमें प्रेसिडेंट बदल गया इसलिए. Okay. Should I start? Before we start second session, I just want to announce that Professor Gangadharji had asked us to be kept today rather than tomorrow. So he will be presiding over the session. And we have Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar Sahab, who will be a co-chairman, and the session will be moderated by Madam. Please, go ahead. You please come. And I thank all other the dignitaries who were on the dais and off the dais, and especially the paper presenters and Professor Srinivasan and other professors who just presented over, and also the co-chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Radha Kumar from
Mashallah, please. You can just start.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. Welcome for business session 2. The theme for this particular session is Semantic Religion and Peaceful Living. The chairperson for this session is Professor Muhammad Hamid, Head Department of Religious Studies, Punjab University, Patiala, Punjab. The co-chairperson for this session is Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar, Assistant Professor at the Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir.
And the moderator for this particular session is Dr. Radha Kumar, Associate Professor, Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture, Archaeology. Madam is from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. Now, may I request Dr. Radha Kumar, Madam, to please take over the session. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Very honored to be moderating this session. I hope all the paper presenters are ready. I think most of the paper presenters are going to be doing the online mode. We have a couple of points. With the kind permission of our chairperson, who's Professor Muhammad Habib.
Professor Gangadhar now.
Okay, I just stand corrected. It's Professor Gangadhar now. And the co-chairperson is Dr. Nazir Ahmed, who's again with us. And of course, we have, I think, about 11 papers, if I'm not mistaken, with varied topics. So we start, sir, with your permission. With your permission, we'll start because the sessions are actually running quite late. So I have the honor of inviting the first speaker, Dr. Nazrul Islam, who is the Assistant Professor, Department of Islamic Studies, Jammu Kashmir. The topic is Peace and Conflict Resolution in Islam, a Perspective Building. Again, our humble request, kindly keep to time. Thank you. So is the scholar there?
Nazrul Islam.
Dr. Nazrul Islam. Has he joined in?
He is there, he was there.
Okay. Sir, can you please, audio, video, can you come on it? Thanks to Zoom today, na sir, we've all learnt new terminologies. Audio, video, mute, and all of that, yes. Unmute. Yeah. Okay.
He is there, he is there.
Okay, Dr. Nazrul ji, he is there? Can you hear me? Professor, can you hear me? He said yes. Yeah, I think I'll get the mic, yeah.
Better one?
Yes, I think that will be better. Because that way I can see the screen also. Just a small announcement. If the scholar is not there for technical difficulties, we go on to the next scholar, the next paper presenter. It's Dr. Javed Nadeem Nadwi, who is an assistant professor, Department of Arabic, Manu, Hyderabad. Topic, Islam, the religion of peace and harmony.
He is now perhaps apparent. Nazrul Islam is there now.
Oh, Professor Nazrul Islam is there?
Yeah, I think I'm sharing my screen. There's my screen visible, madam.
Okay, fine. So we go back to the first speaker, the first paper presenter. That's Dr. Nazrul Islam.
But
Sir, you have about 5 minutes.
Assure me that I'm
Thank
audible,
you.
please. Okay.
Thank you.
So my topic is Peace and Conflict Resolution in Islam, a Perspective Building. So I will start my topic that Islam has a great wealth and precepts when it comes to the peace and conflict resolution. But starting this, it needs a lot of searching and soul searching into the history, how this subject has come into being. We have a certain theory like religion and conflict, we have a theory like religion and peace building, out of which certain other theories have come out into existence called a theory of clash of civilizations and dialogue among civilizations. These all theories were built up because of one theory, which is the return of religion in politics over the years. We talk about a lot about the return of religion into politics, and the reason for being is that the failure of secularism into the world history, for which the World War I, World War II, Cold War, all these necessary events which took place in the 20th century. And because of that, World War I, World War II and Cold War, because of the killing of a lot of human beings on this earth, people have come into this thing that we may need to think that there is a return of religion into the politics. And that return of religion into politics was seen from the twofold. One, some people would say that, some scholars and intelligentsia would say that religion is returning into politics as an element of conflict, and some scholars would say that religion is coming back into politics as an element of peace. So we'll be here talking about Islam back into politics as an element of peace, not as an element of conflict, and Islam has a serious treasure and wealth wherein it has built its peace and conflict resolution theory over the 2 decades almost. We have literature review, and probably the 2 books that are important to understand the conflict theory. One is Margaret Jansmere and Huntington's theory of clash of civilizations. The response to it has come from Muhammad Khatami, Fatullah Gulen, Sayyid Nursi. These also need to be understood from the theory of dialogue perspective. Then there are scholars who have built from last 20 years are working very hard in the theory building of conflict resolution. Among them is Desmond Tutu, Mark Gopin, Marian Albright, and others. And from the Muslim scholars' point of view, Wahiduddin Khan, Kamrul Huda, and Abu Nimar are very important to mention. I would skip some of my slides because a lot of history has been thrown into this context, and very much papers and books have been written on the Islam and conflict in its historical context. We all know that how Western representations of Islam as a religion of conflict has taken place throughout the history by digging into the history, by making people realize that Islam's clash with Byzantine Empire were because of religion, and the Crusades, then to the Treaty of Vienna, Constantinople, and also the process of colonialism, in which Talal Asad used to say that if one reads the thousands of books on history, one does not understand why this conflict is happening in the Middle East. But if just one reads one book on colonialism, one understands a great deal what's happening in the Middle East. Then the post-Cold War theory, wherein the 9/11 attack took place, which put Islamophobia into the shape, and other theories as well. But so far as the Islam's percepts and the treasure is concerned, it's huge. If we start thinking about the theoretical perspective of peace and conflict in Islam, we have certain terms like the concept of social justice, what we call al-adl. Al-adl is because, according to the Abu Nimar, who has done a lot of work on the peace and conflict resolution, who says that al-adl is very important for peace conflict resolution because societies have conflict, because there is inequality, there is not the proportionate balance of economic resources, people are not giving socio-economic justice. That's why al-adl is very important. And Quran and Hadith talk a great deal about the concept of adl. Then there is another term which we find in Quran and Hadith and in the Muslim history, that's the settlement, sulah. Certain other terms like reconciliation, maslaha, arbitration, tahkim. Then there are other certain terms like tawakkul, what we call trust, brotherhood and fraternity, what we call ukhwa. There are certain other terms which we will deal later on. And if you are more interested, then we can read my paper, because it's very painstaking work and it needs a great deal to put all the things in within 5 minutes of time. Certain other techniques which Prophet applied for the conflict and conflict building theory, which Muslim scholars are trying to address, is that Prophet's making of alliances, certain tactics and strategies to resolve the conflict. If you can only see the yellow color, the pledges of Aqaba, which Prophet Muhammad wherein created brotherhood, ukhwa. He also created the trust, what we call tawakkul or iman, and the security, what we call al-aman. There is a thrice held dialogue with the people of Aus and Khazraj on the plains of Aqaba, wherein these 3 techniques were used. One is the technique of trust, another is the technique of truth, and another is the technique of security, al-aman. A leader has to be truthful. A leader has to make people put their tawakkul on God, and he has to also create the security, that's called al-aman. Prophet used all these techniques in the plagues of Aqaba. He also used so many techniques in creating the alliances by using mainly these 3 theories. Ibn Hisham has stated that after the continuous failure in Makkah, Prophet was looking for alliances in order to go abroad, and also the protection and defense which was needed. He also created a military alliance. He created the policies of immigration. In clause 43 of Madina Constitution, we can also see a Judo Muslim. But there are also certain negotiations that scholars have found. In the modern history, in the modern times, we also see certain scholars like Zabin, like Fred Charles Zickley, who wrote an influential book on how negotiations negotiate, in which Fred Charles has, given a phrase that a negotiator is the one who maintains the will to win. But when we look into the Prophet ﷺ, he denies this phrase. We see in the Hadith literature and the Quran that negotiators' will should not be just to win. The winning should not be the case. If you see the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, Prophet as a negotiator has done a lot of compromise, and compromise is a very good technique in building the theory building of conflict resolution. When Prophet ﷺ was asked to remove the phrase Apostle of Allah from the draft, he did it. Even though Sahaba disagreed to that, but Prophet compromised it to that. Because Prophet's negotiations of art may therefore include, the language for the future
Dr. Nazrul, you have another minute.
In modern negotiations, we can say that.
Excuse
we also see the concept of brotherhood and fraternity that started into the prophetic relations. Islamic scholars of theory building and intelligentsia, they use this term brotherhood and fraternity for developing the peace and conflict. Modern scholar Archibald Appleby has done an extensive research on the centrality of relationships. We also see that John Paul literature.
Dr. Nazrul, you need to conclude.
Brotherhood and fraternity, how these centrality of relationships can develop.
Dr. Nazrul.
But in Islam, we have the precepts, we have a wealth of treasure, we have a treasure of wealth, wherein we see the brotherhood concept of fraternity adopted by the Prophet Muhammad between Ansar and Muhajir, and later on in Quran we see a great deal of resources for that. The concept of equality is more important.
Professor Nazrul, you need to conclude, please.
Justice, inequality, lack of proper distribution of resources, and nepotism. None of you, as the prophetic tradition goes, that none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. The Prophet of Islam, we also see that in his famous address.
Nazrul, can you conclude please? Because time is getting over. Can you please conclude now?
Professor Nazrul Islam, you need to kindly conclude. Thank you. Thank you very much. May I invite the next speaker, Dr. Javed Nadeem Nadvi. He is an assistant professor, Department of Arabic, Manu, Hyderabad. The topic is Islam, the religion of peace and harmony. Is he there?
Thank you very much, respected Chair. Yes, I am available here. Am I audible?
Sir, you're very much audible, and sir, you get 5 minutes to present your points. Yeah, sure. And please kindly stick to time. Thank you very much.
Welcome. So, my topic is on that I am speaking upon Islam, the religion of peace and harmony. Islam is the religion that essentially puts a stress upon establishing peace and harmony, that is based upon the logic that the entire mankind is the descendant of a single family, referring to Adam and Eve. As the Holy Quran mentions,
thank you.
Ya ayyuhan nas inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum 'inda Allahi atqakum inna Allaha 'alimun khabir. Surah Al-Hujurat. That means, O mankind, we have created you from a male and a female, referring to Adam and Eve, and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know one another. Verily, the most honorable of you to Allah is the one who is a believer. He is the most pious. Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. Indeed, we have honored, as Allah says, we have honored the children of Adam, and we have carried them on land and sea. So it is notable that the Holy Quran puts stress upon spreading the message of peace and harmony. Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ وَإِنَّ السَّاعَةَ لَآتِيَةٌ فَاصْفَحِ الصَّفْحَ الْجَمِيلَ. Here Allah Ta'ala has mentioned that the Prophet should deal with the people with harmony and mercy. So we understand that Islam essentially puts stress upon bringing people closer. Allah Ta'ala has says, that even though the non-believers put the Muslims into hardship, yet the Muslims have to behave with them with fraternity, closeness, as well as brotherhood, so that they could understand the reality of Islam. Islam is a religion that seeks the followers to spread peace and harmony, to promote righteousness among people. And righteousness cannot be spread unless we have harmony, we have closeness, we have good faith for each other. So this is the basic message of Islam. I come to the behavior of the Prophet ﷺ as he behaved with the people when the religion of Islam came to power. There is the companion of the Prophet ﷺ, Anas ibn Malik radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who narrated that once he was walking with the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet then had been putting on an apparel of Najran, which had been bordered with something thick element. A Bedouin came across the way and dragged the apparel of the Prophet quite forcibly. Anas lifted his eyes and found that this the action of snatching the apparel caused a sign of bruise around the neck of the Prophet. The Bedouin asked the Prophet, "Whatever you have, the wealth of Allah, O Muhammad, pass an order to give me that one." The Prophet turned towards him, laughed, and passed order to give that one to this Bedouin. Similarly, another event came. Zayd ibn Sana radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu accepted Islam. He came to the Prophet and sought for the debt that the Prophet had taken from him. The person came to the Prophet, caught hold of the cloth of the Prophet and dragged it through the shoulder of the Prophet in such a way that the portion of the cloth was in the clutch of that person. He talked to the Prophet in a crude tone and said, "You progeny of Abdul Muttalib are very
Dr. Javed, your time is up. Can you give us the basic conclusions? Thank you very much. Can you give us your basic conclusion? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So we have to understand that Islam is the religion that essentially means to propagate the message of brotherhood, the message of love, the message of affection, so that everybody could understand the power of Allah and everybody could understand the Prophet ﷺ was sent down to spread harmony and peace. With these words, I conclude my paper, and I expect that the message could have come to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. May I invite the next speaker, Dr. Zabin Anjum. She is a former principal of Jamia Urdu College of Education, Aligarh. Her topic is Prophet's Peace Mission and Analysis. Is Dr. Zabin there? Madam, if you're there, if you could just come on video. Looks like she's there, yeah. So I'll go to the next, yeah, I can see Dr. Kamal. Dr. Kamal, are you ready? Can you present your paper? Dr. Kamal Ashraf, Assistant Professor, Department of Islamic Studies, Aligarh University. Sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Thank you very much. If you can come on video, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We'll be very grateful if you can stick to time. 5 minutes, sir. Thank you. We can see you, sir. You can start.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम।
मेरा मकाला उर्दू पे है और मेरा मकाले का उन्वान है बैन मज़ाहिबी मुज़ाकरात वक्त के हमज़बर। आज के दौर में अक़वाम आलम मुताद्दद फिक्री व सियासी, इक़्तिसादी, समाजी, कानूनी और मजहबी चैलेंजेस का सामना कर रही है। ऐसे में एक तरफ लोगों, गिरोहों और रियासतों की इंफरादी, गिरोही और रियासती मफादात में मुख्तलिफ अक़वाम के अंदर एक तनाव की कैफियत पैदा कर रखी है, और दूसरी तरफ लोगों को मुख्तलिफ नस्ली, लिसानी, मजहबी
اور سماجی اور سیاسی تعصبات نے پرامن بقائے باہمی کو خطرے سے دوچار کر دیا ہے. مفادات اور تعصبات کی چپلش نے کبھی مذہبی رنگ تو کبھی سیاسی رنگ اور بسا اوقات نسلی رنگ اختیار کرتے ہوئے مختلف اقوام اور رنگ و نسل کے کروڑوں انسانوں کو لقمہ اجل بنا ڈالا. دنیا کو درپیش مشکلات کے حل اور ان میں رہنے والوں کی زندگی میں پرامن خوشحالی توازن اور ترقی کے لیے جن چیزوں پر پھر سے اصرار کیا جانے لگا ہے ان میں سے ایک دنیا کے مختلف مذاہب کے درمیان مکالمے کی ثقافت کو زندہ کرنا ہے. دنیا کے تمام مذاہب میں ایسے تعلیمات موجود ہیں جن میں انسانیت کی بہتری اور فلاح کا سامان موجود ہے. سب مذاہب نے انسانوں کے ساتھ بھلائی سے پیش آنے، ان کی خدمت کرنے، ضرر رسانی سے بچنے اور لوگوں کے لیے آسانیاں پیدا کرنے پر زور دیا ہے. مذہب میں بس یہ صلاحیت موجود ہے کہ وہ انسان کو ان فسادات و مسائل سے نجات دلا سکے. دنیا کے تمام مذاہب بنیادی طور پر انسانیت کو امن کا پیغام دیتے ہیں، مگر اس کے باوجود بدقسمتی سے مذہب کے درمیان تناؤ کا ماحول پایا جاتا ہے. مختلف مذاہب کے مابین خوشگوار ماحول کو فروغ دینے اور بین المذاہب رواداری کے فروغ کے لیے ان کے مابین مکالمہ کی اہمیت کو نظر انداز نہیں کیا جا سکتا. اسلام غیر مسلموں سے بھلائی کا حکم دیتا ہے، جس مقصد کے لیے بین المذاہب اچھے تعلقات قائم کرنا ضروری ہے. جب مختلف مذاہب کے لوگ ایک دوسرے کو قریب سے دیکھتے ہیں تو ان کے باہمی غلط فہمیاں دور ہوتی ہیں اور ان کے دل میں ایک دوسرے کے لیے نرم گوشہ پیدا ہوتا ہے. اس کے بعد ہم نے باہمی گفتگو شنید کے اسلوب آداب بیان کیا ہے. اس کے بعد بین المذاہب افہام و تفہیم کیسے کیا جا سکتا ہے، ان کے ساتھ رابطے میں کیسے آیا جا سکتا ہے، اس کے بارے میں اسلامی تعلیمات کیا ہے، یہ میں نے بیان کیا ہے. اور اس کے بعد نبی کریم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے زمانے میں جو غیر مسلم یہود و نصارہ اور دیگر کے ساتھ جو حسن سلوک اور بین المذاہبی رواداری کا جو بے مثال کارنامہ انجام دیے ہیں ان کے بارے میں تذکرہ ہے، جیسے کہ خیبر کے یہودی کے ساتھ حسن سلوک کے بارے میں. اس کے بعد صلح حدیبیہ بہت ہی بڑا یہ ایگریمنٹ ہوا تھا صلح کے لیے، یہ اس کے بارے میں نے بات لکھی ہے. آخر میں بہت جلدی کے ساتھ ٹائم نہ لیتے ہوئے بتا دوں کہ یہ تمام جو نبی کریم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے انسانیت کے لیے یہ عملی اقدامات کیے، سب انسانوں کو دکھانے کے لیے، خاص طور پر مسلمانوں کو دکھانے کے لیے یہ حکمت عملی انجام دی، یہ عملی نمونہ پیش کیا. یعنی کہ یہ نبوی حکمت عملی اور اسوہ حسنہ تھا کہ آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی مذہبی ہم آہنگی اور رواداری کے سبب صلح حدیبیہ، جس کو قرآن میں فتح مبین قرار دیا گیا ہے، کے بعد آنے والے زمانے میں اسلام کی فتح کا دروازہ کھل گیا اور لوگ اسلام میں داخل ہو کر دامن مصطفی صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم سے وابستہ ہونے لگے اور تھوڑے عرصے میں آفتاب اسلام کی پرنور کے لیے اطراف عالم کو منور کرنے لگے. لوگ امن و شانتی اور بھائی چارے کے ساتھ زندگی بسر کرنے لگے.
کمل جی
ختم کرنے والا ہوں میں. آج کا عالمی بحران مذہبی، سماجی، سیاسی، اقتصادی اور معاشرتی طور پر دنیا کو بری طرح متاثر کر رہا ہے، جس کے باعث مختلف معاشروں میں بے چینی، نفرت اور اضطراب کا غلبہ ہوتا جا رہا ہے. اس لیے مذاہب اور تہذیبوں کے درمیان مکالمے کو دنیا کی سب سے بڑی ضرورت اور خواہش کے طور پر محسوس کیا جا رہا ہے. یہاں یہ امر بہت اہمیت کا حامل ہے کہ ہر مذہب کی اپنی زبان اور روایت ہوتی ہیں.
کمل جی, will you be able to give us your conclusions?
بنیادی ختم کرتا ہوں 2 سیکنڈ میں. بنیادی انسانی قدریں عطا کرتی ہیں جن سے انسانی معاشرہ بہتری کی طرف بڑھتا ہے اور یہ قدریں اس سوسائٹی کے نگراں کا کردار ادا کرتی ہے. والسلام. شکریہ. تھینک یو.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can I invite the next speaker, Dr. Kausar Zabin and Professor Hamidullah Mirzai, Research Scholar, University of Jammu and Kashmir, former Dean Social Science, Central University of Kashmir, J&K. Topic is Role of Islam Towards Peace and Progressive Behavior. Sirs, are you there? Professors? Dr. Kausar and Professor Hamidullah, آپ ہیں وہاں پہ؟ Yeah. I think they are not there. So I would like to invite the next speaker, and that is Sumana Sadakat
postgraduate final year student, Department of Islamic Studies, JMI, Delhi. Topic, concept of peace in Islam. Is Sumana is there? Yeah, thank you, madam. Can you come on video, please?
Yeah, once.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Am I audible?
I would be, yeah, you're audible, and I hope we are also audible. We'll be very grateful if you can keep to time and listen to the bell. 5 minutes to make your point, please. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the topic of my today's presentation is the concept of peace in Islam. Now we all know that the word peace has been used in the modern world, especially after the world wars. And the idea of peace is seen as something related to conflict, violence, and external threat, that is external physical threat mostly. But when we look at Islam, the idea of peace is not just having external peace, but it is viciously entitled to the idea of having internal peace. So Islam presents around 4 to 5 aspects of peace in various various aspects of the life of man. The very first is the internal peace, and the second is the external peace, which is reflected in the social, economic, political, environmental, and cultural peace. Now, what I have understood as the idea of peace in Islam during this study is that one of the first things is that peace in itself is an idea which refers to perfection, which refers to a society which is free from imbalance, and the idea is of getting close to a society which is in equilibrium. Now, this equilibrium which exists in the nature has to be replicated in our personal lives as well as our social, political, and other aspects of our lives. Now, the very first thing that I'm going to focus upon is the idea of internal peace. Now, when we talk about modern day psychology, we often talk about the everyday battles that we go through, and the idea of id, superego, and ego, and the constant struggle between them. Now, Islam very precisely tells man how peace can be achieved, how God consciousness can lead to peace of mind, can lead to peace of soul, and can lead to peace in general in an individual's life. Now, along with this, the idea of God consciousness and peace being as a source of reward for man in this life and the next, Islam also wants human beings to achieve this peaceful inner self, so that they can achieve peace in the outer world as well. Now, the importance of internal peace is reflected in the fact that most of the Meccan Quran, which was revealed before the migration of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, has verses which are related to internal peace. If we look at Surah Shams, if we look at Surah Ala and other surahs, we are going to find that the idea is of internal peace. And then the various acts and things that we have in common understanding as Islam, such as the verses related to ablution, or the verses related to hijab or zakat, came much later in the Medinan time. So that means the foremost principle of peace is having internal peace and maintaining the internal equilibrium in one's life.
Sumana, can you come to your conclusions? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just conclude. Now, when we have this internal peace, and when we reach that particular stage of spirituality, when our lives are in equilibrium, then only it is possible for us to achieve political peace, which has been reflected through various examples through the conquest of Makkah, Hudaybiyah, and other instances which have been mentioned by other presenters as well as economic and social peace, which is reflected in the idea of justice, equality, right to live, right to life, and other rights which have been given by Islam to human beings. So the idea is to have a peaceful society which is fundamentally based on having peace of mind, which will
final point, Sumana, final point.
That's your final point.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sumana. May I kindly invite the next scholar, Mahvish Fatima. Are you there, please?
She is a research scholar in the Department of Islamic Studies, JMI Delhi. Topic is prophetic model of maintaining peace and harmony. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're very much audible, but we can't see you. So can you please come on video? Thank you.
Okay.
I can see some nice roses. We need to see you. Mehwish Fatma.
Yes, am I?
You're audible, but we can't. Oh yeah, now we can see you. Yes, you can start now, Mehwish. We'll be very grateful if you can stick to the time, which is about 5 minutes. Thank you, and please be alert about the bell. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. So a very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present offline and online. So I would just present the topics, present the The next thing that we see is peaceful activism characterized by peaceful patience and steadfastness. Prophet Muhammad met and bared all the atrocities which were met to him by the disbelievers of Makkah at that time, and he advised his followers to bear the torments with utmost patience and stability. These atrocities were never the topic of discussion.
You need to give your concluding statements. You need to give us your concluding statements. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the next important things are peaceful coexistence with non-Muslims and ensuring social justice to all and equality before law. And the next important thing is forgiveness and benevolence in spite of power, majesty and awe. So to conclude, I can say that it is evident that Prophet Muhammad refrained from any kind of hatred politics. Instead, his reform always went on positive lines. So in today's world, when there is a dire need of peaceful coexistence in a pluralistic society, prophetic model would serve as a great example and a topic of great value for interreligious dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for sticking to time. Well appreciated. Can I invite the next speaker, please? Next caller. Mr. Afreen Shaukat, Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir. Topic is Islam and peaceful behavior. Is Afreen ji there?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're very much audible and we can see you also. Afreen, I'll be very grateful if you can stick to time, which is about 5 minutes. Ma'am will give you the ring. Can you, this bill, okay? You should be able to stop at that time. Thank you very much.
The title of my paper
Yes,
is
you're audible. You're audible, Afreen.
Islam is the religion of peace. Islam places emphasis on non-violence. The people who follow Islam are called Muslims. The word Islam means surrender or submission to Allah, the Creator and Lord of the creation. The person has to surrender to Allah with all the body and the soul and what Allah has commanded and prohibited. The holy book of Muslims is the Quran. There are strict rules of conduct for the whole Muslim Ummah. Islam stresses values such as compassion, benevolence, wisdom and justice that are compatible with the practice of non-violence. The Quran teaches that forgiveness for any wrong deed is a much virtuous attribute than revenge. The Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is and always remain the source of the Islamic Weltanschauung. Islam is a monotheistic religion along with Christianity and Judaism. Quran is a sacred book in which moral and pious precepts are written, but also the primary source of the Holy Law. The Quran guides the Muslim community on how to regulate its relations with other religious communities and how to live peacefully. Christians, Jews and Muslims are the people of the book. Islam is a universal faith and is not meant for any particular ethnicity such as color, creed or caste, but for all humanity. In the eyes of the Muslims, the Quran is the infallible and eternal word of Allah. The Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ contain all the basic principles of human existence, as pictured by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in the Makkah and the Medina, and the interpretation of these principles have been deduced from the Quran and underlie the way of the life of the Muslims, and is affected by the prevailing political and historical conditions, school of laws, and the political and religious trends. The important point to notice is that neither there is one viewpoint in Islam towards war and peace, neither in the past nor in the present scenario. Islam is the religion of peace, and as it is seen that the people who followed Islam or Islamic groups or states did not spread Islam through swords and waged wars. Still, they spread their message of Islam on humanistic tradition and contributed to peace. Prophet Muhammad stated the idea of one religion, monotheism, and one human race for mankind, which have been proclaimed by the prophets and messengers of Allah. The fundamental idea of Islam towards other religions, individuals, ideologies and people, and the question of peace and tolerance establishes the possibilities and limits of the inter-religious dialogue. The unity in diversity and religious pluralism requires tolerance. Prophet Muhammad's message is seen easily in his behavior towards the people of the book. There is one verse in the Quran: people who believe in the Quran and those who follow the Christian and Jewish scriptures, and those who believe in the Allah, the Almighty, and the last day of judgment, and righteousness shall have their reward with their God. They shall have no grief.
Afreen, may I request you to give us your conclusions, please? May I request you to give us your conclusions, Afreen?
Imam, the historical circumstances which existed during the time of Prophet Muhammad's life need to defend and protect what had already been achieved. Their main aim was to bring the Islam to all the people of the world and all the nations. At the end, peace is the final state when the world is won over Islam, and as the word Islam itself means peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks again for sticking to time. Very well appreciated. Can I call the next speaker, our next caller, Mr. Gulzar Ahmad Butt. He's a PhD scholar, Department of Islamic Studies, Islamic University of Science and Technology, JNK. Topic: Peaceful Behavior in Islam, a study of Quranic and Hadith perspective. So is Gulzar ji there? Is he there? Okay, since Gulzar ji is not here, can I go to the next speaker, the next caller, Huria Hussain. Okay, all right. Is
Professor Huria, who is this?
This is I, Huria Hussain,
I'm sorry?
the paper presenter.
Okay, right.
That
That's
she
what
just
I was
mentioned.
saying. Yeah, perfect. We can see your PPT, we can't see you. The topic that you're presenting is Interfaith Dialogue and Islamophobia, Challenge and Perspectives. Huria Hussain is a research scholar, Shah Ahmedan Institute of Islamic Studies, University of Kashmir, J&K. Huria, all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. My paper is an analytical study of how Western Islamophobia and related phenomena such as the question of Muslim identity and multiculturalism pose a threat to interfaith dialogue and harmony. It also discusses the prospects that Islamophobia has provided for initiating interfaith dialogue, such as increased identity awareness and curiosity to know Islam. However, the challenges of Islamophobia outweigh its prospects unless events endorsing interfaith dialogue are organized frequently and at large scale, besides other efforts by the state, such as legislation and criminalization of religious discrimination. The concept of interfaith dialogue has already been discussed in the previous presentations. I will only mention some points that are important but were left out. The current focus on interfaith dialogue emerged in the West when there was increased migration of people of different cultures, ethnicity and religions to the Western countries after the end of World War II, leading to the formation of highly diversified societies. The debate on interfaith dialogue focused on achieving a truly democratic and liberal society that the West envisages and propagates. Some of its key features are that it requires building positive relations with mutual cooperative attitudes.
Huria, may I kindly come in, please? Can I just make a small suggestion? Your slide, it's not moving and we cannot see you. So, do you?
Actually, I have prepared all the slides. I'll just move them and
that's perfectly fine, but we are not able to see you.
Okay.
Is your video on?
No, I haven't. Please wait.
All right. Okay, fine. We are good. You can continue, please.
Okay.
Please continue, Huria. Thank you very much.
The other point is that interfaith dialogue is not a debate because the goal of any debate is to win over the other, while dialogue is to understand the other. And there is no need that the dialogue must end in absolute agreement, but every person remains true to his or her faith and shows respect to the rights of other individuals. It is not about assimilation or acculturation, but integration, that is a bidirectional change in values, perceptions and attitudes which can be achieved. Now, the main aims of interfaith dialogue is to change the attitude of individuals and communities to know other cultures and religions. It also leads to accommodating differences while acknowledging universally held values. And the most important in contemporary time is conflict resolution. There are many sources of contemporary conflicts. Religion, or more precisely religious extremism, is a source of national and international conflict, but at a very low level compared to the main conflicts around economic and political issues. So conflict resolution is an aim of interfaith dialogue, by way of which not only conflict arising from religion, but also other than religious issues can be addressed. There are some preconditions and also some principles of interfaith dialogue that must be met for effective results. The first is listening and respect. This must be followed to gain a deeper understanding of diverse worldviews and practices, to maintain unbiased opinions and choices, to allow growth, transformation, and to promote respect for others. Openness. There should be an outlook of openness to alternative religious perspectives. Participants must reflect upon each other's thoughts. This allows for trust to develop among them, and which can nurture collaboration. Fairness. That means there should be no asymmetrical power relationship among participants, which may allow some participants to exercise power over others. There should be no capacity to coercively manipulate other participants' words or actions, and to selectively remove topics as discussion points. The fourth is willingness to learn, which means mental readiness to accommodate new knowledge from others' experiences. It requires moving out of one's cultural comfort zone by experiencing the way others think, view the world, and make sense of reality. Now let me discuss the concept of Islamophobia.
Huria, you need to give us your conclusions.
Unfounded state of the religion of Islam or Muslims.
Huria, you need to give us your conclusions, please.
And academia. In simple terms, Islamophobia is about having negative attitudes which may be towards Islam as a religion or Muslims. Both these aspects are highly intertwined in Islamophobia, and it shows that Islamophobia is a multidimensional phenomenon having numerous reasons such as political, social, economic, as well as religious.
Huria, you need to give us your conclusions, please. Huria?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you give us your conclusions? Thank you.
Well, as can be seen in this slide.
Yeah, I can see your slide. Interfaith Dialogues and Islamophobia. We can see it. Please continue.
Islamophobia actually works on antithesis to the core principles of interfaith dialogue. For example, the principle of listening and respect are countered by the Islamophobic perception of Islam as inferior and Muslims as manipulated. Similarly, for all the other principles that are countered by some of the key tenets of Islamophobia, which I have highlighted as 8, that were given in the Running Media Trust report of 1987. So besides these challenges, there are some other external challenges as Muslim identity formation, which are actually a product of Islamophobia, in which coercive identity of Muslims is coerced on Muslims because of Islamophobic threat of security perception, and also the issue of multiculturalism, universal multiculturalism expected in the West, because the formation of neutral national identity, which of course the ethnic, cultural and religious identity of the individuals, are key posing a threat to interfaith dialogue. Besides these, 3 internal challenges of the Muslims in the West are that they are very diverse, ethnic
Huria, we need to stop.
Lack of consent in contemporary issues.
Huria, we need to stop. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. We got your point. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I invite the next scholar? This person, we couldn't. Yeah, Dr. Kausar, we can see you there. Would you want to present your paper now? Dr. Kausar?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good evening. We will be very grateful if you can stick to time, madam. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm Dr. Kausar, PhD from Aligarh Muslim University.
We cannot see you. Your video is off. Your video is off.
Okay, ma'am. Wait.
Okay, you can continue, Kausar. That's fine. We can hear you. Dr. Kausar, you may please continue. We can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And
you get 5 minutes. Can you start your paper, please?
the topic of this presentation is role of Islam towards peace and progressive behavior.
Yes.
Today we live in a multicultural world with many religions existing side by side. Islam is one of the 3rd major world religion, which along with Christianity, they believe in a single God. Islam, as described in the Holy Quran, is a modern enlightened progress religion. A Muslim is therefore someone who surrenders to the will of Allah. Islam is a religion of peace and tranquility. It lays stress on compassion, tolerance and patterns. Islam teaches a collective sense of loyalty to Allah and equality of all human beings before Him. Islam is a religion that teaches non-violence and is rich with central values that promotes peace building and conflict resolution. Islam quotes that true Islam is religion of peace. Quranic verse, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kunu qawmayn lillahi shahda'a bil qist wa la yarji minkum shanu qawmin ala illa ta'dilul adlu huwa aqrabu taqwa wattaqullaha inna Allaha khabirun bima ta'malun. This verse translated, O believers, stand firm for Allah and bear true testimony. Do not let the hatred of a people lead you to injustice. Be just, that is closer to righteousness, and be mindful of Allah. Surely Allah is all aware of what you to do. Quran is not a gun, it is a book of ideology. In such a case, performing jihad with the Quran would mean that ideological struggle to conquer people's heart and mind through Islam's superior philosophy. Jihad is also used for striving ceaselessly to remove ignorance and disseminate knowledge, learning and science. Islam has given top priority to knowledge and pen. Jihad with pen occupies a dominant position in the Islamic culture and is influential torchbearer of knowledge during the glorious days of Muslim civilization. Any effort made to spread knowledge comes in the real of jihad with pen.
Dr. Kausar, may I kindly request you to give us the conclusions, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, that proves Islam is a peaceful religion. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu udkhilu fil silmi qa'ihwan wa la tattabi'u khutuwati shaitan innahu lakum udwun mubin. Hence, it is clear that Islamic notion of peace suggests a condition of internal and external order, where peace is a responsibility of every Muslim, and the best way to attain that goal is through non-violent means. The religion Islam not only wants spiritual but also material gains. The latter would serve as a means to achieve the ultimate truth. Quran is the complete guide for scholars to understand the nature and its creators. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Kausar. This is the last speaker for this session, Niaz Ahmad Lone, PhD scholar, Islamic University of Science and Technology, JNK, topic Islam and peaceful behavior. Is Niaz Ji there? Has he joined the session?
Thanks, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much, Niaz Ji. I'll be very grateful if you can stick to time, please. 5 minutes and be a little aware of the
Good evening
time.
to all of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
The topic of my paper is Islam and peaceful behavior.
Yeah.
Islam is a concept, peace as a concept entails the availability of equilibrium, harmony, integrity in the society. It can be conceptualized as enduring state of justice. The Islamic concept of peace involves the security of human life, property and honor, irrespective of any difference. Islam treats life, property and honor of the people as secure and hence advocates peace as a basic principle of the life. A substantial amount of Islamic teachings deals with peace. Islam means a sincere submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to live a peaceful life. Tawheed, which is the central point of Islam, aims to construct a classless society to regulate the society in a peaceful manner. The primary aim of Islamic teaching is to ensure peace in the society and to maintain brotherhood. Islam vehemently or strongly resists against the exploitation and manipulation of human beings in the society. The aim of war in Islam is to ensure peace. Islam seeks enforcement of justice in the society to ensure peace because justice involves the establishment of equilibrium and balance in the society. The concept of non-violence constitutes an important part of Islamic teachings. Islam believes in peace. Islam strongly condemns all those activities which threats human beings. Peace, security and protection are some revolutionary features of the Islamic teachings. Islam is a complete way of life. Its teachings are based on the concept of unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam infuses a spirit of positive and peaceful approach in its followers. The ultimate objective of Islam is to guide individuals to spend their life in a fairest and possible way. From the very first day, Islam has discarded all the races, all the differences of race and color and language among the human beings. Islam inculcates a sense of brotherhood in its followers. The concept of peace in Islam involves a cordial relationship with the people of other faiths also. Islamic teachings are peace-building in nature. Islam gives first priority to peace at any situation. Islamic teachings provides rich values for peaceful society. To conclude, Islam is alone religion in the world which believes in unity among the human beings so that peace and harmony can prevail in the society. Thanks, man. Because of shortage of time, I could not present whole paper. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you so much, Niaz Ji, and again, well appreciated. You stuck to the time. We have one more speaker in this session. Junaipa Bilal. Is a person there? Has a person joined? Junaipa Bilal?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, lovely. We can see you. We can see you, audio and video. Thank you. Can you please tell us your topic, because I don't have your topic with me right now.
Okay, ma'am.
And 5 minutes, Junaipa, if you don't mind. Thank you.
No issue, ma'am. I will try to complete it within the time. Honorable Chairperson, respected dignitaries, and other research fellows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and a very good afternoon to all of you. The theme of my paper is Quranic paradigm of religious harmony. Undoubtedly, the concept of religious harmony and peaceful coexistence is a novel idea in the Occident, but we see that for Muslims, religious harmony is not a novel concept. As it is clearly mentioned in the Quran, Quran emphasizes religious harmony and universal brotherhood in its teachings. Islam's conception of religious harmony is comprehensive in nature. Islam promotes peaceful coexistence among both Muslims and well as among the non-Muslims. Universal humanity is basically the central value that is taught by the Quran. Quran prohibits non-violence, aggression in all its forms. The Quran imparts a strong message of peaceful coexistence and social justice. The Quran explicitly conveys that the whole mankind is single family and all humans are children of Adam and Hawa. Quran advocates policy of peaceful coexistence and tolerance with other religions. This study of my paper basically tries to accentuate on the Quranic conception of religious coexistence. In the study, I have tried to explore how the Quran appeals to the Muslim mind to espouse religious tolerance and harmony with people of other faiths. In this study, I have tried to streamline the Quranic principles of religious harmony and peaceful coexistence. This theme of research is of great relevance as it tries to explore the Quranic paradigm of religious harmony while taking into consideration the contemporary scenario wherein it is seen that terrorism and violence has preoccupied the whole world entirely. So the methodology which I have espoused in this paper in order to meet the objectives of this study, I have followed descriptive analytical methodology. So coming to the main crux and core of my research paper, basically while contemplating and while pondering over the Quran, I came to this understanding that Quran emphasizes on the 5 things, on the 5 aspects which basically promote religious tolerance, religious harmony. First one is the conception of universal humanity. Though I don't have a lot of time to elaborate on one by one, I just enumerate them with a single verse from the Quran so that Quranic paradigm and Quranic principles of religious harmony will be in the limelight here. So the first one is that is the universal humanity. Quran enunciates this principle for the establishment of religious harmony, that is universal humanity. Almighty Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan nasu ttaqu rabbakum allazi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. O mankind, fear your Lord who created you from a single soul and from it created you made. This verse shows us that the all humanity is having unity of creation. The second principle put forth by the Quran for the establishment of religious harmony is that no human being should be forced to accept the Islam. Allah Almighty says in the Quran, La ikraha fid deen, let there be no compulsion in religion. So coming to the third principle, that is the principle of tolerance.
Junepa ji, you need to give us your conclusions. Junepa ji, you need to give us your conclusions, please. Your conclusions. Thank you very
The third
much.
principle is the Quranic principle of tolerance, and the fourth one is the prohibition of violence and aggression in Islam, and the last one is which the Quran advocates, that is the protection of religious and sacred places of other faiths. To sum up it can be put for that the main accentuation of the Quran is on the ordering mankind to submit to Almighty Allah. Indeed, the proper way to develop peace in the world is provided by the Quran in its teachings. The Quran has a message of peace, love and harmony. Understanding and applying the Quranic principles of religious tolerance and harmony can undoubtedly elevate the probability and the possibility for peaceful change and development in communities and societies. This is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You stuck to time. Thank you very much. Professor Tabassum, so these papers are done. I'd like to invite, if Professor Gangadhar ji is here, and the co-chairperson, Dr. Nazir Ahmed ji, if he is there, if you would like to conclude this session with your comments. So shall I conclude the session? Would you want to say anything, Professor Tabassum? Shall I conclude the session there? I'm sorry? Yeah, shall I do my conclusion?
Hello, good evening. Am I audible? I am Dr. Nazir.
Yes, sir, please. Dr. Nazir has joined us. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Let him.
I'm sorry to say that I'm not able to join through the video mode because of the connection problems here. So I think it's okay to talk to you through the audio mode.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, we cannot see you, but we can definitely hear you, sir. Nazir, sir, you can definitely conclude the sessions with your comments.
As brevity is the soul of it, so I would take very little time because of the shortage of the time. So the world we live today is conflict-ridden and full of chaos. Every country in general and India particularly, as the melting pot of various religions and faiths, is in dire need of mutual peace and harmony between its citizens. And religion is the most potent factor to shape mindset of people, has the capacity to bring about mutual peace and create an atmosphere of love and brotherhood. So mutual understanding therefore is need of the hour. I would like to congratulate the organizers of this brilliant conference touching the very important, very delicate theme for which today every citizen of India particularly is in need to have the mutual understanding of other faiths living around and to create such an atmosphere where love and brotherhood and fraternity and respect for each other's existence prevails in the country, so that we may have a better atmosphere to live in, and which would ultimately end the enmity and a sense of otherness with our fellow citizens and other fellow beings which are inhabiting the globe right now. So, to be very brief, it's my privilege to be here as a co-chairperson, and I should to thank the great teacher, Professor Hamidullah Marazi, who has provided us such platforms to share our ideas, and the young scholars and students have also got such opportunities to present their ideas to a wider audience and to such academicians. This here on our part of the world where we live, this is all due to the efforts of the teacher, Professor Marazi Sahab, who has been always instrumental to give such platforms to his students. So I would like to thank the Objective Institute and the other partner of this. I'm sorry to have missed the name of this college, who have been organizing such an important seminar on such an important theme. I would like to thank you once again. Thank you very much for providing me the chance and for inviting me as a co-chairperson in this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nazir. That was very wise words, and I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful to Professor Tabassum, the Momin College and the IOS for giving me this opportunity for moderating this session. Very good papers, and sir, this session had a lot of young scholars to present the papers. It kind of resonates with what you said in the morning, that way forward, India is in great hands, and the whole concept of peace and harmony definitely is on a very strong stance. I'd also like to thank my fellow colleague and Professor Dr. Ghazala, who was a very ardent timekeeper. So we managed to finish this session where we had 9 papers on different topics that was presented on this. And I think some of the papers were excellent PPTs, and also there were some papers where the scholars quoted from the text. They gave verses from the text that basically means substantiating what you're saying. So thank you so much, Professor Tabassum and the organizers, for giving me this opportunity and also learning from the fantastic papers that I just moderated. Thank you very much. Best wishes.
With this, we come to an end of the session 2, Thematic Religion and Peaceful Living. I thank the chairperson, the co-chairperson, and the moderator. Now may I request Tabassum Sheikh Madam to please felicitate Dr. Radha Kumar.
My paper is tomorrow. Thank you. Now we have to give a break. We conclude session 2. Now we start with cultural session. Now may I request Vaishali Nirmalkar madam to please take over this session.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we'll start.
We'll start.
Yeah. You see the program? Yeah. Program. For tomorrow. 9:30? Yeah. So please make an announcement for tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow the session starts at 10?
No, 9:30 it's.
9:30? Yeah. Yeah, announcement for tomorrow. We are going to start with business session 3 tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. The theme is personalities and movement for peace promotion.